What's going on, everybody? One of the viewers mentioned a while back that the Exalted Plains was like his favorite area. And I was thinking, you know, I haven't gone to visit there yet. Might as well at least go take a look at it. I remember saying I was at least going to try to, you know, touch all the different areas. Not going to try to do every single thing. I think, honestly, with the few things that we have already avoided, I'm still probably out-leveled. I probably out-leveled this area by probably 3 or 4 levels by now. I wouldn't doubt it. Starting to run out of monsters that can stand up now, basically. Friggin' Blackwall with all this talk about being loyal and I'm down with you and your enemy is my enemy and blah, blah. The first thing he does is runs off. I'm not even gonna go look for him. Piss on that dude.
Good to see you again, Inquisitor. Hope you've got your comfortable boots on. The scouts have seen a number of Fade rifts all over the forest. We've located this mysterious Fairbanks. He won't share his information with anyone but you. He and his men are camped out at Watcher's Reach on the path ahead. From what we can tell, they're refugees from the war. Peasants, mostly.
Tell me everything you know about Fairbanks.
We don't know much about him. He appeared after the Civil War started, helping people fleeing from the destruction. Fairbanks is likely not his real name.
Do you know anything else about the region?
They call this place the Emerals Graves. Legend says that a tree grows here for every elven knight of Halam Sharal who perished in its defense. Makes you sad, doesn't it?
What was done to the elves here was unforgivable.
Never again. At least I hope not.
Thank you for the information. I'll head out.
One other thing. You've tangled with the Freeman of the Dales before. They have a presence here. Watch your back, Inquisitor.
I always do. Wow, if the rest of this place looks like this, if it's all like deep forest and woods and stuff, it's gonna be very cool. Hope there's more waterfalls and stuff. I like the Oasis section of the Forbidden Oasis. I think that's pretty cool. See if we can't earn a few quick persuasion or reputation points, whatever. Alright, yeah, if any of you know the story of Blackwall, right, and want to share, great, do share, that's cool, but as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing he could say that would find him innocent in a court of law on charges of deserting.
Word for you.
What is it?
This could help us.
Yeah, all that bluff and bluster, and then the first thing he does is hightails and run. I don't care what his emo excuse is, his reason, his personal sense of justice, this thing that he needs to do at the worst possible moment without saying a word, leaving his little coward note instead of just coming up man to man, face to face and saying, I need to go do something. Are you down with me or not? Everybody else has, and I've always helped him out, and if he hasn't seen that, that's on him. Piss on him.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir.
I really liked him. Anyway, he's honestly, he's the only character in Dragon Age I could say that's more shallow or more shallow, I guess the best word, lack of depth, than Fenris. This dude's even blander than that. Not a big fan of Blackwall. And he's a garbage tank, in my opinion, also. I know his champion tree is alright. It comes second to Cassandra's tree, but it's okay if he used it right. He just doesn't get in there and do his thing. My opinion. Of course, that might be, you know, jaded a little bit by the fact that I just don't like him. I really don't. Oh, well, they did good with the music here too. It fits. Look at this, the roots growing out of the ground. Man, this is nice. Attention to detail. There's like, you don't see the same tree twice. It's amazing. I can only imagine what they're going to try to do with the next Elder Scrolls, if you think about it, because you know the last one, Skyrim, it came out. It was supposed to be the next ooh and ah big thing for last gen, with their new engine and stuff, which acted, in my opinion, in a lot of ways worse than the one that they were using before. But whatever. From what I understand, it was just supposed to be an upgraded version that they tasked to do a lot more and didn't seem to really be able to handle it. But it was new, you know. I mean, they might be able to tweak it. I hope they don't have so much pride that if they find that it's lacking in too many areas to migrate over to next gen, that they just scrap it and start with something else, rather than be stubborn and say, no, we put our name on this, we're going to stand by it all the way, you know, all the way to failure. You know, screw that. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Or if it's not any better than what you had, then go back to the drawing board and find something that is. But, yeah, I saw a lot of problems with their, what is it called, creation engine, I think they called it. Anyway, but if they can get it in here, and maybe you know, the next gen capabilities and stuff will really allow it to show its, you know, its true value and stuff, that'd be cool. If they can do anything like this, who wouldn't want to run around like a Skyrim that looked like this? You know, that had this kind of detail and vibrancy with all the colors and the textures and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. Although it's rumors have it may be placed in the desert. Depends on if they go to Hammerfell or Argonia, or it just depends, because Argonia would have a lot of marshes and stuff, and they could do wonders with these type of graphics, and, you know, black marshes and, you know, deep swamps and what have you, things like that. See a need for, if you're not playing in Argonian, I'd see need for a lot of water breathing potions or something enchanted with water breathing. Anyway, there's a DLC for this. As I'm editing this, it's been out for a little bit. I haven't seen it on PSN. If it is there, it's hiding well, because I haven't seen it pop up yet. But I'll probably check it out. I have some reservations about DLC here. Is that towards the end of the game, like right here, from this point on, I've noticed the challenge isn't there because you simply run out of enemies that are your level. Basically, everywhere you go, you've out-leveled everything by 4. You have to skip a large percentage of the content to keep the game challenging. I think that's a massive oversight, and I don't want to complain about the game, because I love the game in so many ways, right? And even if I didn't, I probably wouldn't really want to admit it to myself, you know, fanboying it, because I just like Dragon Age series, period. And so it's kind of hard to turn me off to it. But I'm noticing here that's just, you know, Nightmare used to mean Nightmare. Now Nightmare is, well, it goes from hard to normal. It never is Nightmare, ever, really, at any point in the game. Not where they brutally just wipe your party in 2 seconds and say, you need to go learn the combat system and get your skills right, or you die right here, right now, and you never get past this. Period. That's how it used to be, and now, you know, and now, of course, for those of us that have played Nightmare a lot in, like, Origins and Dragon Age 2, learn the ins and the outs, learn some things that work, and that actually make the game much easier, you know. But you have to go do your homework. You have to go study. You have to go look into tactics. You have to go set your team members to do the right things at the right time and stuff. Well, they took tactics out here to, I guess, approach more players. I think you lose your core fan base if you're going to move away from the challenge, because, see, you don't have to play on Nightmare. Here, there was an achievement for playing on hard, but I don't recall that on either of the first 2 installments. Origins and Dragon Age 2 didn't even have that. Nightmare was a choice of yours. If you loved the game enough to actually bother to look, as soon as you put it on Nightmare, you either went in and learned the combat and learned some tactics and went and asked some questions and got on the forums and talked to other guys and said, what the hell, I cannot get past this boss, I cannot get past this mob, I cannot get past this area, what the hell is going wrong, I'm getting one hit by everything. And someone will come up with a tactic, and it'll open your eyes to something about the combat which would carry over into the rest of the game and to the next game, right? It's the strategies and stuff that I pass along to you guys here in this. And it really works in spades here because it's been so dumbed down. It's been so overly simplified. Sorry to say it, but it's really true. And if you move away like this, you're going to make the same mistake that Dark Souls 2 did. Is, yeah, you open it up to a few more players, but you lose the loyalty of that core fan base because you take away what made the game special. But we want a few extra dollars. I think you lose it in the long run, right? That's being very short-sighted. I think for those kids who would complain and say, oh, I'm not playing it as long as it's hard, they'll get pressured into their friends to play it, right? For fear of being called a sissy if they don't, type of thing. As long as it's hard, right? And then when they get in there, they're going to actually have to do some work. Go study a little bit. to get paid, you know? That's too much gimme these days.
As much as I admire you, however, I did not reach out to the Inquisition just for this. As my missive stated, we can help each other. You have encountered the Freeman. Aggressive bastards, no? They've killed a dozen of my people. We've tried to fight, but we cannot match their strength. You can. Why should you care about this, you ask? Because the Freemen are colluding with your enemy.
Which enemy do you mean?
The rogue Templars. I've seen them through the woods, heading for the Freeman bases, leaving with crates. Destroy the Freemen, and they'll lead you straight to the Red Templars. This I promise.
I'll look into this, Fairbanks.
All my information about the Freemen is right here, in our camp. Help us, and everything I know about the Dales, about these woods, I will share with the Inquisition.
Alright. Well, you could give us a little benefit of the doubt, is that maybe we'd help you even if you didn't have anything for us. I mean, we might just do the right thing just because it's the right thing, dude. Give us a little credit. Hey, notice that, that rune we found on the wall back there. Was fortunate enough to hear it ding as we walked by, first time. Went and looked for some balefire, and sure enough, there was a font right there for it. I'm sure that's a treasure map right there. That's what it looked like. Right around here. Oh, there's a waterfall. Done very well here, in my opinion. Lighting shining off the sparkling water as it splashes off everything. Yeah, that's done really well. Really like that. But anyway, this isn't for those who like. All right, for example, you have I have friends like this that they play on easy and nothing but. They're not interested in the combat. They have no desire to go learn it. Okay, and that's essentially what casual or easy mode is for. I just had to try, guys. I just had to see if I could go down there. It didn't cost me anything. Well, maybe a little health, but whatever. It was worth it just to see. But you know, that's what those modes were for. And like I say, that's interesting that they departed from their old way of thinking. Is that in previous titles, you didn't get a reward, any kind of achievement for Nightmare, right? Or any other difficulty. You got your own personal sense of satisfaction, achievement, you know, accomplishment from that. That's what it was about. Now here they make an achievement for hard, which isn't hard. Not with some basic understanding of tactics. And like I said, they've taken the tactics out of it anyway, so I'm strongly against. And essentially way oversimplified it. What made the game special? They've taken those things away because they were challenging, and people who don't want to be challenged, who want to whine and cry and stamp on the ground enough till they get their way. The temper tantrum players, the temper tantrum fans, that's a shame to cave into that, to cater into that, because if you know, you spare the rod, you spoil the child type of thing. If you don't keep the challenge up there, then the ones who come to your game for some kind of reward, sense of satisfaction, and having actually played it and beat it, wow, you're really cheating your core fan base by trying to draw in other gamers where you really don't have to. Like I say, there is a casual mode for those who just want the story. They don't want the challenge. They're not playing the game for that. They're playing it because they want to more watch a movie. In fact, if you remember, I think it was Mass Effect 2 actually had a setting. It was almost a cinematic setting where there was essentially no challenges. It was all about cutscenes and story.
Yeah, you felt that one.
There's picking on Solus. Anyway, I found this mansion. I'm just kind of highlighting some places. I'm not going to cover every Fade Rift and every Magic Shard that I find, which is essentially what I did here. That's all I really found. The few cool things I found, like of course this mansion here, and it had this semi-boss Reaver here. In fact, I would strongly suspect that this guy might even drop a infusion primer if I didn't already have them. So, anyway, just my thoughts and my takes on where I see games kind of, in my opinion, going wrong for the me now generation, the instant gratification type thing. The cure to that, and they don't want to hear this, and they don't want to accept this, but they will, if you give it to them, is essentially, you know, they want it all now for free without having to lift a finger. And then when they get it, it's worth nothing. It's like, you know, if you had to work all your life to buy a Porsche, you're gonna go sit in a corner and cry every time it gets a scratch on it. But if it just gets given to you for your 16th birthday and you're guaranteed a Lamborghini when you turn 20 or 21, then what does it mean? Oh shit, I wrecked it. I'll get another. It doesn't mean anything, you know. So you get in here, and you know, that seems like kind of a way out example to make my point, but it's the same type of thing. Is if you get in here and you get this great game and you get all this, and you get the experience, it's all free. It's all too easy. It's all handed to you. There's too many outs. There's no price to pay for failure. There's no challenge to winning. There's no cost to losing. When you take that out, once again, I use Dark Souls 2 as a perfect example. When you take it out away, when you know there's going to be a bonfire every 5 feet, if I die right here, it's cool, I can go back there. Or I know I can just walk 5 feet up here. Oh, horde of enemies, no big deal. If I die right here, I don't lose anything. There was nothing. There was, you know, all you had to do was just bang your head against that wall till you finally broke through it. And then you got to the next wall and start banging your head against that too. You need to bang your head harder, get a better helmet. Bang your head some more until you finally, you know, it was mindless. And so, you know, there was nothing to figure out. There was no challenge. There was nothing. If you know, I need to get in there and work with my tactics. I need to get in there and find out why exactly my tank's not drawing hate. Why exactly my archer keeps dying over here. Why, you know, all the attention keeps going to this mage over here and is not getting diverted where it needs to go. And I need to go in and figure all that out and come up with team tactics where on Nightmare, you pay for a misstep. If there's a weakness in your build, the game will find it. In here, that's been watered down a lot. And then, of course, them scaling the enemies also, where you can walk in and you know, if one area is too hard, you just go level up somewhere and come back and just mow over everything and go God mode. You know, now I did hear someone, it was on Reddit, I believe, somebody mentioned, well, you know, I like being able to go God mode sometimes. Well, make it an option. You made friendly fire an option, make that an option too. Make it an option to turn on and off level cap. Where, you know, I want a little box I can check mark and say, you know, I want enemies to scale indefinitely. If I'm 26, I want them to be 25 through 28, period. You know, regardless of the area, whatever. I mean, that's how the first 2 Dragon Age were. And I guess it was challenging, so they dumbed that down. They made it easy. And sorry, I think you're turning your steak restaurant into a McDonald's by doing that. And yeah, you might draw a few more, but at some point, you're going to stop selling those dinner plates for $80. Nobody's going to pay $80 for a Big Mac. Sorry. So just throwing that out there. Nobody. I'm sure nobody that can necessarily have an impact on that is listening, but you know, do my share of bitching. Anyway. But besides all that, the game looks great. The play's fun. The combat. When it is, you know, an even playing field, it's fun. It's nice. I still think Dragon 2 is my favorite of all 3. It's my favorite of the combat. It's favorite of the whole skill trees, the build. That's where they peaked, I guess. They got some core mechanics in place in Origins, in my opinion. And then they threw in the animations and the actual gameplay in Dragon Age 2, in my opinion. And then in Inquisition, well, they kind of took a step away. Put a big, pretty wrapper on it, but took out some of the substance on the inside. Same with Skyrim. Same thing to do with Skyrim from Oblivion. In Oblivion, you had that pen and paper menus where it almost looked like you were playing a D&D game come to life. And that's what that was literally wherever my love for the game just blossomed. That was fertile ground to plant all those little seeds of fantasy and, you know, the old ruins where you felt like you were, you know, exploring ruins. You felt like you were exploring an old fort or an old castle or an old elven magical, you know, realm long forgotten, you know, overtaken by skeletons from the past and trolls and stuff that may have moved in and stuff. It was friggin' amazing. And sure, you know, it was kind of new at the time. I guess it was, you know, kind of groundbreaking in a lot of ways, you know. I mean, Morrowind did its thing, but then Oblivion, they brought some things to life, you know, with better graphics and stuff like that, right? Then they were supposed to take that next step with Skyrim, and they didn't. They took away a lot of the things that brought the immersive role-playing element into the game. Things like repairing your weapons, you know, simple stuff like that. well, that's tedious. Well, shit, I imagine it would be in real life too. But the thing is, for a role player, that's amazing stuff. For the button masher that wants to not be required to show any skill, or not be required to gain an understanding of the world and the environment that they're in, one who is coming straight from, say, Call of Duty, which, not knocking Call of Duty, but it's two completely different genres. If you want to bring in the Call of Duty fans too, you have to destroy elements of the game that brought your core fan base into the fold in the first place. But there you go, right? So let that be a lesson learned. I'll use this example again too. I can't preach this one enough. If you are a rock fan, don't go try to play in a country bar, right? Or don't go try to play jazz or polka or friggin' classical or whatever. Play rock and roll, right? And play at rock clubs where people come to listen to rock music, right? To rock fans. I mean, it's common sense, you know. I played music in the past. I played drums, and I've been told by some is that, well, you need to have a little of something for everybody, and I say no. If people are coming to listen to a rock band and you feed them country, they're going to kick you in your face, throw beer bottles at you. Shut up! I don't want to hear that. That doesn't make. That's not the real world. No. If you're a rock band, play rock and be good at it. You know. So if you're an RPG, be an RPG and be good at it. Going, you know, wanting to go hack and slash or wanting to go mindless, dumbed down, you know, whatever. But you know, having a great character creation doesn't make an RPG. Having a great system in place where one has to understand that system to excel at the game, that helps make an RPG, right? Along with you know, the story and the, you know, immersive game world and stuff like that. A big part of that is all the mechanics you have in place, not just in fighting, but crafting and things like that keep one immersed in it and require one to learn. If you make me go find it, once I find it, it's worth having. If it's just laying there on the ground, it's not worth any more than a rusty nickel. It's just garbage. So there you go. So don't give it to me for free. Make me work for it. That's what I buy the game for. And maybe I'm just talking for myself, but that is what I'm doing, talking for myself. Anybody who agrees, that's cool. Anybody who doesn't agree and they think it's just great the way it is, well, like I say, it'd be nice if there were options at the beginning so you could set some things. Turn tactics on and off. I would like you could, how far would, you know, I'll take this a step farther. How hard would it be to create a box where you have AI tactics, right? Or custom. And if you click the box, you can create your own custom tactics and you bring, it's essentially turning the AI completely off, right? So where you can set your own tactics. I want the AI to work as I direct it to. I don't want the AI just doing its own thing, and I don't want the AI just standing there where I have to go into the tactical menu and control their every move. I like using it as kind of like a character build and going into tactics and creating my own build in tactics to where my whole party works together with good synergy. All right? Make that an option, right? And if you unclick the box, then it's just default, and Inquisition is the way it is now, where, you know, it's completely dumbed down and the AI does everything for you. You say, follow me or don't, you know, and that's it. Okay, well, that may be great for some who don't want to have to think about that, who are totally in it just to see the sights. And that's cool. That's cool. But I think for your core base of fans who really appreciate the thought and effort they put into designing these combat systems and crunching all these numbers and balancing out the weapons and armor and defenses and offensives and resistances and blah, 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 damage mitigations and what have you. You put all that thought in there and then you sense wasted. It's like you got Rembrandt abilities, but you decide to be a cartoon artist. Not taking away from cartoon artists, I'm just saying, if you have the ability to, you know, make $1 million oil paintings, do it. You know? Don't cheat yourself and don't cheat us with it either. So anyway, make these options. You know, if you're gonna make this more approachable to a wider audience, then give us the options for the core gamer too. Keep your core stuff in place and then give a simpler version for those who really have no desire to learn the game, that are really just passing by. We'll play it once, we'll say, ooh, the graphics are pretty, and move on. Right? That aren't going to be sitting there on Twitter every day trying to follow everything that every BioWare producer is saying, you know, just to catch a little hint of news or just to, you know, share a jibe here and there or something like that. Or the ones who are on the forums discussing builds and tactics and stuff. You're not giving them a lot to talk about with this. The more you take out of stuff that needs to be learned and needs to be discussed and needs to be, you know, fine-tuned and analyzed and micromanaged, the more you take away for it, the less we'll have to work with. In other words, I don't have to go ask about a build, and I can just kind of throw points anywhere and hold down my trigger and win. What kind of shit is that? You know? And I'm not saying it's quite all that simple, but I see him going in that direction, and that worries me. That bothers me. Because I would hate to at some point say, you know, this just isn't what's happening anymore. If Elder Scrolls takes one more step in that direction, I can say that about Elder Scrolls. I was so disgusted with so many elements of Skyrim, as popular as it was, as accessible or approachable as it was by so many new gamers who had no mind for RPGs. They just wanted to get in and run around and pick berries and swing their sword at stuff. Not understanding, you know, reading and you know, looking into codexes and following out dialogues with NPCs to learn backstories and history and investigate the world and explore it. Instead, they gave you quests which said go from point A to point B from point C. If you don't know why, it doesn't really friggin' matter because you can do it anyway, and now you're the head mage of the college, and congratulations. How did I get that? I don't know, but it just seemed to be the thing that we should do, and screw it, it doesn't make any difference anyway, and then gameplay goes on. What? Garbage. Trash, shallow, empty trash. Pretty, empty plastic wrapper.
Not anymore.
And, you know, I go back to Oblivion, but the real Elder Scrolls fans, they'll go back to Morrowind, where they still had to do a lot of storytelling because they couldn't visualize it as well. You know, they brought that 3D explorable world in, but it was still very rough. You know, it was just you know, just a hair above 8-bit graphics type thing. You know, I mean, they were, you know, they still didn't have all their ducks in a row as far as, you know, the graphics go, and they didn't have really the hardware to run it on. But then they come out with Oblivion, and they can bring some of that to life, bring some of the colors out, and show you what they're telling you, right? But still telling the story. Within all that was this story to explore by reading books and learning things and going through, like, you know, to get into the Mages College. Shit, that took you as long as it almost takes a playthrough of Skyrim just to get into the Mages College in Oblivion. You had to go to every city and do things for all, and gain trust with all the guild members just to get into the college, just so you could start crafting your own stuff. And that was your reward, was the ability to make spells of your own design, make weapons and enchant them exactly as you wanted with a little of this and a little of that, and cool, funky stuff to totally customize your character. But that required learning how to use the enchanting table. What do you do? That gave people something to talk about on the forums. Well, this is the gem I use on this particular sword, and it gives you an extra couple charges on this if you take 1 point off of this and add a point to that, and then you can maximize the damage you do with the sword plus get this benefit. You had stuff like that, right? Now on Skyrim, how do I level up blacksmithing? Go bang on some shit? Oh, okay, thanks. That's the depth of your discussion, because you've taken away everything to talk about. There's nothing left to learn. There's nothing to, it's all self-explanatory. You know, what's the quickest glitch so I can get unlimited gold? There, you know, that's the sum and substance of your conversation, because you don't have all the things like in Oblivion. Sometimes you would go find help just to get through a quest. Where in the hell is this person at? Sometimes it didn't even hold your hand. You might get a quest marker and still have to go look and actually think for yourself and actually explore a little bit. And they took all that away. And that's sad. That's sad. And if that's the way all games are going to be leaning, then it's going to be just shallow and garbage as you know, these, you know, this crap you see on a toothpaste commercial. Just smile and bling, you get it for free. Well, who wants that? I'm sorry. And for those that do want that, well, maybe my particular style of gameplay doesn't cater to that either, because it's not my thing. All right, thanks for listening to me rant, and we'll explore this place a little bit more in the next one. Want to subscribe? Click that button over my head. Till later, y'all take care. Bye-bye.